The car arrived right on time, but that didn't stop Emily Taylor from worrying. But then, Emily worried about everything. She worried about whether she had done the right thing by accepting the producer's offer to send a car to drive her from her suburban New Jersey home to the television studio in Manhattan. Would the producer hold it against her? As far as Emily was concerned, driving herself was not even an option. That would make her even more anxious. What if she had an accident because she was distracted, going over in her mind what she would say, or if she'd made the right decision about what she was wearing? She couldn't ask her husband Greg to drive her. He had to stay at home to get their kids off to school. Should she have allowed the boys to miss one day so they could all drive into Manhattan together? But then the boys and Greg would have to go with her to the studio, and that might look unprofessional. Plus, she didn't want her sons to miss a day of school on her account. She could have stayed at a hotel near the studio, but she hated to be away from Greg for even one night. Besides, it would be harder to get ready for the show the next morning from a hotel room. She was still debating what outfit to wear when she concluded that accepting the offer to have a car drive her round trip was the best solution. That put aside, she moved on to other worries. Had she studied her answers to the questions enough? Or had she analyzed them too much, so she risked sounding forced and stale? Would the interviewers stick to the questions that she and the producer had gone over? Or would the hostess ad-lib, as she was known to do? As a clinical psychologist, Emily would diagnose such constant worry in one of her clients as generalized anxiety disorder and treat it by urging the client to talk about her feelings, and so explore why her notions of what others thought about her resulted in such anxiety. Was it a hunger for acceptance that caused her to worry so much? Emily would ask. And did she self-medicate with food to soothe the anxiety or the rage that burned beneath emotional wounds that wouldn't heal? Stop with the self-diagnosis, Emily chided herself. What was it Greg always said? You can't see the forest if you're a tree. Hunger was Emily's friend, as well as her demon. It lay at the core of her lifelong struggle with overeating and obesity. It was a battle she had won and lost many times over the past 25 years. And this morning, she was on the winning side, having recently shed 60 pounds to be back to her wedding weight of 135. Emily entered the bathroom one last time to check her hair, in case there were no stylists on hand at the studio. She peered into the mirror and scrutinized her bangs, which she'd styled to cover up a 2-inch scar on her forehead that she got when she was an infant. She'd been covering that scar most of her life, and she sure didn't want to reveal it to 5 million television viewers now. So many questions ran through Emily's mind as she did another check of her attaché case and pocketbook for everything she might possibly need. Lipstick? No, she didn't really need that since the station would make her up by a professional makeup artist, but it was still better to have her own bright red lipstick, just in case. A mirror for last-minute fussing in the car. A copy of her book, of course. Maybe even 2 or 3 copies in case they didn't have one, or she met someone that she wanted to give it to. A hairbrush. She really preferred that they use hers when they made her up and did her hair, since she distrusted that their brushes were really sterilized for each guest. And money. She wanted at least $60 in her wallet, including a $50 bill hidden under her driver's license, and various bank cards on the left side, so she wouldn't feel poor. It was important to feel successful and not intimidated by this experience. She also had her cell phone, the lifeline between Greg and her throughout the hours ahead. A pen, pencil, and business cards, in case someone wanted to get in contact with her afterwards. This television appearance was something she had been preparing for ever since she had been a guest on that same show 25 years ago.